Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita shloka. You're reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text 33. Go ahead, Arunita and Aditi Lata Mataji. Anyone else who wants to go first can raise your hand.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Tasmatvam uttishta yaso labhasva jitva satrum vungshvarajyam samriddham mayaiva vaite nihata purnam eva nimitta matram bhavasavyasachin. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Tasmatamucha yasu labhavasya Jita sharum Swarajam samardam Mayevati nayat Varam eva
Nihata purvameva.
Nita purmameva Nimantamatam bhavasavya. Translation. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Hare Krishna. So we'll go in order now. Achit Priya Mataji.
Mataji, I'll read last. Mataji, sorry, I'm searching for my glasses.
No
Hare
problem.
Krishna, Hare Krishna. Sorry.
Achit Dev Prabhu.
He will read last, Mataji.
Okay. Inba.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Tasmatam uttishtayo yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungshva rajam samriddham mayaivaite nihata purvameva nimattamatram bhava savyasachin. Translation. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Yes, India.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Tasmatamaspitayasholabhasva Vitva satrun bhungshvarajyam samriddham Mayaivaite nihata purvameva Nimittamatram bhava savyasachin. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Yes. Mataji and Prabhuji.
Mataji, they'll read later.
Later. Isha.
तस्मात्त्वमुत्तिष्ठयशोलभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहता पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
तस्मात्त्वमुत्तिष्ठयशोलभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहताः पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Yeah. Madhava.
तस्मात्त्वमुत्तिष्ठयशोलभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहताः पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, will be an instrument in the fight.
Asapriya.
तस्मात्त्वमुत्तिष्ठयशोलभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहता पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Yes. Next is Lokesh Shamal Gopika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Mataji.
Tasmat Samuttishta Yaso Labhasva Jitva Satram Bhungshva Rajyam Samritam Mayevaite Nigata Purvameva Nimitta Matram Bhavasavya Sachim. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies and enjoy your flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savya Sachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Thank you, Mataji. Lokesh is
Not there. Okay. Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please
Yes,
accept my
Mataji.
humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Tasmat Tvam Uttashta Yasholabhasva Jatva Shatrun Bhunksva Rajyam Samriddham Maivaita Nihitaha Puravam Eva Nimittamatram Bhavasavya Sachin. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sarvasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Thank you. Achyut Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Bhagavad, Mangal Kota
Dandavat Pranam
Khana.
Mataji. Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Tasmat Tvamutishta Yaso Labhasva Jitva Satrun Bhungsva Rajam Samriddham Mahevaite Nihata Purvameva Nimitta Matram Bhavasavya Sachin. Translation and prepared basement. Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy your flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Achintadev Prabhu. Okay, I'll recite in the meanwhile. Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, text 33. Tasmat tvamuttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samriddham mayaivaite nihatah purvameva nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. Therefore, get up. Prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachin, can be but an instrument of the fight or in the fight. Yeah. Achintadev Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Sorry for being late.
No problem. Okay,
Hare,
Prabhuji.
please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat. Tasmat tvamuttishta yasho labhasva
Tasmat tvam uttishta yaso labhasva
jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samriddham
jitva satrum bhusva kya bhusva bhun bhunsva rajyam samriddham
mayaivaite nihata purvameva
maya aivete nihata purvam eva
nimitta matram bhava savyasachin.
nimitta matram bhava savyasachi. Translation. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an fight. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? I think everyone has recited. Let's. So today, as I said yesterday, I'll just read just a small note about Gopastami. It's a class in itself if you wanted to just discuss Gopastami. But then there's also the disappearance day of Sri Dhananjaya Pandit and disappearance day of Sri Gadadhar Das, and also the disappearance day of Sri Srinivas Acharya. So I will just read about all of them and then we will read Srimad Bhagavatam. I was actually going to do this as a separate, recording, but since I didn't get to do that and it'll just get postponed, so I thought I'll just read it now. Okay. So beginning with Gopastami. This is a short note. On this day, Lord Sri Krishna became a qualified cowherd. Before this day, he was a keeper of the calves. So he was called Vatsapala before. And that is when he turned 3, he was given the charge of calves. He would take care of calves. And on the day of Gopastami, now he was 6 years old. So he was given the charge of cows. So from Vatsapala, he became Gopala. So that is Gopastami yesterday. So the killing of Dhenukasura. Oh, sorry. I don't know why the killing of Dhenukasura is given here. Thus Sri Krishna, along with his elder brother Balaram, passed the childhood age known as kaumara and stepped into the age of pauganda from the 6th year up to the 10th. At that time, all the cowherd men conferred and agreed to give those boys who had passed their 5th year charge of the cows in the pasturing ground. Given charge of the cows, Krishna and Balaram traversed Vrindavana, purifying the land with their lotus footprints. So the other thing is, Krishna wouldn't wear shoes when he went out because when he was a Vatsapala, he wouldn't go too far. They are concerned about the little boys. If they went too far into the forest, it can be dangerous. Then there can be wild animals, so on and so forth. So they would just go in the outskirts of the village, so not too far inside. And also the elder gopis would go during midday to give them their lunch lunch packs. But now when they would take charge of the cows, they would go deeper into the forest and they wouldn't come back until evening. So the gopis wouldn't see the cowherd boys, they wouldn't see Krishna until evening. So now when he would go deeper into the forests, Mother Yashoda was concerned. She was giving a pair of shoes to Krishna, and Krishna said, if you give me shoes, you have to give shoes to all my cows. And there were 900,000 cows. Just Krishna had. And then of course the other cowherd boys had their cows. So Mother Yashoda couldn't afford, and each cow had 4 legs, 4 feet, hooves. So it was not possible to make shoes for all of them. So she said, okay. So that's the speciality. In Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu has Paduka, but in Vrindavan, Krishna does not wear anything. So the earth is always decorated with the lotus footprints of Krishna. So that was Gopastami yesterday. So devotees go and clean the Goshala, brush the cows, feed the cows, worship the cows, perform arati, yagya, like that. They celebrate, decorate the cows with, nice decorations. They put handprints on them and make nice paintings like that. So next is, who is Dhananjaya Pandit? So it was also Dhananjaya Pandit's disappearance day. I'll just read about Srila Dhananjaya Pandit. Dhananjaya Pandit was a very rare soul. Nityananda Prabhu was always present in his heart. This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya Khanda, chapter 5, text 733. His Sripat is at Sitalgram, Mangal Kota Khana, Barddhaman district. There is a railway station at Kaicor on the meter gauge line from Katwa to Barddhaman. If one gets down at Kaicor, then it is about a 20-minute walk to the village of Sitalgram. Dhananjay Pandit also stayed at Sanchra Panchra for some time. According to the opinion of some, he was born in the village of Jaigram within the district of Chittagram. He was present during Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan pastimes in Navadvip. After returning from Vrindavan, he also worshipped the deities of deities at Jalandigram. At present, the deities of Sri Gopinath, Sri Nitai Gaur and Sri Damodar Shaligram Shila are being worshipped there. He has no descendants, but he had a brother by the name Sri Sanjay, whose son was Sri Ram Kanai Thakur. His Sripat is located at Mulukgram near Bolpur. Sanjay was perhaps the disciple of Dhananjaya Pandit. The present Sevaks at Sitalgram are the descendants of Dhananjaya Pandit's disciple. His disappearance is on the 8th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Kartik. So this information is given about Dhananjaya Pandit. Next is, today is also the disappearance of Sri Gadadhar Das. Sri Gadadhar Das. Sri Gadadhar Das Thakur previously lived at Navadvip. When the Lord went to live at Nilachal, Sridas Gadadhar also went there to be with him. Later on, Mahaprabhu sent him back with Nityananda Prabhu to preach in Bengal. So obviously this is not Gadadhar Pandit from the Panchatattva, right? Because Gadadhar Pandit from Panchatattva took Kshetra Sannyas. He wouldn't leave Jagannath Puri. So this is Gadadhar Das. So Gadadhar Das was also sent with Nityananda Prabhu to preach in Bengal. He first stayed at Area Dahagram, which is situated on the banks of the Ganges. Then he spent some time in Navadvip, taking care of Sachimata and Vishnupriya. But after their disappearance, he came to live at Katwa, where Mahaprabhu had accepted sannyas from Keshav Bharati. He was a very confidential associate of Sri Sri Gaur Nityananda. In Gauraganodesha Deepika, it is stated that he is an incarnation of the effulgence of Srimati Radharani's body, as well as an expansion of Purnananda Gopi. Though he was one of the associates of Nityananda Prabhu, the majority of whom were cowherd boys and thus situated in the mellow of friendship, he was always absorbed in the mood of a gopi. So when we were reading in the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, we read about Gadadhar Das. So he's an eternal association of Nityananda Prabhu as well as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How Nityananda Prabhu? He was a cowherd boy with other boys with Nityananda Prabhu. But at the same time, he was also in the mood of a gopi, like that. Once, as he was carrying a pot of Ganges water on his head, so this is as Gadadhar Das, he was carrying a pot of Ganges water on his head. He called loudly, "Who wants to buy some milk?" So he's carrying water, and in that mood of a gopi, he's saying, "Who wants to buy some milk?" Sometimes he would say, "Here is some first-class yogurt. Whoever wants to buy some, come here." Calling out like this, he would then laugh very loudly. When Mahaprabhu instructed Nityananda Prabhu to preach in Bengal, he sent Sri Ram Das and Sri Gadadhar Das along with him. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 11, text 13-14. One day Nityananda Prabhu came to Gadadhar Das's temple at Area Dahagram. In the temple was a very beautiful deity of Sri Bal Gopal, which Nityananda Prabhu carefully picked up from the altar. While holding him against his chest, he began to dance in ecstasy. When all of the devotees saw that Gopal had taken shelter of the heart of Sri Anantadev, they made the heavens resound with the vibrations of Hari Hari. Nityananda Prabhu, who was very robust and heroic, then began to roar very loudly while engaging in his ecstatic dance with Gopalji. Then Madhavendra Ghosh began to sing some songs describing Krishna's Dan Leela from Dan Keli Kaumudi. Hearing his sweet voice and poetic descriptions of Krishna's Dan Leela, Nityananda exhibited all of the ecstatic symptoms within his body simultaneously as he danced like one intoxicated. The gestures he exhibited while dancing were like flashes of lightning. His limbs moved with unparalleled grace. His expressive eye movements, his sweet smiling and eruptive laughter, and the shivering and quaking of his head provided a feast for the devotee's eyes and ears. Bringing his two beautiful lotus feet together, he would then jump in such a way as to completely captivate one's mind. Whomever he would look at would find themselves floating in an ocean of the mellows of love of Krishna. And by his merciful glance, they forgot about the existence of their physical body. The level of devotion that is sought by great yogis and munis was attained that day by the ordinary men and women of that place as they relished the remnants of Lord Nityananda's love for Krishna. Someone as fat as an elephant becomes so thin and weak if he fasts for 3 days that he can barely walk. So even if a person who's as fat as an elephant fasts for 3 days, he'll become so weak that he can barely walk. However, by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, one small child of that village didn't eat anything for 1 month, yet his movements and behavior were like those of a lion. That means he was not weak at all. Such was the mysterious influence of Nityananda Prabhu, though no one could understand his activities due to the Lord's Yogamaya potency. Nityananda Prabhu thus enjoyed various pastimes at the temple of Gadadhar Das Thakur. In Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sri Vrindavana Das Thakur has described the glories of Das Gadadhar in this way. Nityananda Prabhu was personally present within the body of Sri Gadadhar Das. Such are his glories. Amongst Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates, no one wanted to go near the Mohammedan Qazi for fear that he might lose his caste. Simply by looking at the face of a Mohammedan, a Hindu would lose his name in society. It was Das Gadadhar who had the power to influence the notorious Qazi, and so he bestowed his merciful glance upon him. Even at their first meeting, he was able to lift that Qazi beyond the limits of his caste and creed, and thus those limitations completely fell away. One day, Sri Gadadhar Das Thakur, intoxicated in ecstatic love while chanting the holy names of Hari, came to the house of the Qazi at Eriadahagram and began to call him. The Qazi, in a fit of anger, came storming out of his internal apartment. But upon seeing the transcendentally serene appearance and mood of Das Gadadhar Prabhu, he became stunned. His anger softened and his expression became friendly. The Qazi inquired, Thakur, why have you come just now? Das Gadadhar Thakur answered, I should like to have a few words with you. Yes, whatever you have to say, just speak up. Qazi said. Sri Sri, so now Gadadhar Das is saying, Sri Sri Gaur Nityananda have appeared on this earth to distribute the nectar of the holy name to all classes of men, from the highest to the lowest, even to the most sinful, despicable persons. Why haven't you accepted this sweet treat? Why haven't you taken up the chanting of these nectarian holy names? So the Qazi says, we'll accept it tomorrow. So the way it happened was, he said, why didn't you chant Hari? So the Qazi says, Gadadhar Das, I will chant Hari tomorrow, like that. So Gadadhar Das says, why tomorrow? Today you should accept. I have come here today to deliver you from the depths of ignorance and sin by the power of these holy names. So you please take this supremely auspicious Harinam. I will deliver you from all your sinful activities this very day. Having listened to Gadadhar Das Thakur's sweet speech, the Qazi became a little bewildered. He began to laugh and said, tomorrow I will say Hari. When he heard the two syllables ha and ri emanate from the Qazi's mouth, Das Gadadhar Thakur became overwhelmed in the happiness of ecstatic love and explained, "Tomorrow, sir, you said Hari just now. All of your sins have fled far away. You have become supremely pure." Saying this, he began to dance in ecstasy. The Qazi, having been purified by the transcendental vibration of Hari, took shelter at Das Gadadhar Thakur's lotus feet. In this way, Das Gadadhar Thakur delivered many sinful, wicked Yavanas and other such people. He disappeared on the 8th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Kartik, which was Gopastami. On the day of Gopastami, he disappeared. Area Dahagram is reached from Calcutta by bus from Esplanade. Gadadhar Das Thakur's Samadhi Mandir and the Samadhi of the hair of Lord Chaitanya shaved off by the barber Madhi Sil when he accepted sannyas are united within the same tomb at Keshav Bharati's ashram at Katwa. Sri Das Gadadhar Thakur established a temple at the place where Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas, and the deity of Lord Gauranga was personally installed by him. This deity is one of the three deities which were carved from one Nimba tree, as per the order of Sriman Mahaprabhu, which he communicated to Narahari Sarkar Thakur and the Bhakar, deity maker, on the same night through the medium of their dreams. The next day, when the two met and learned, the two means the deity maker and Gadadhar Das. When the two met and learned that they had both had the same dream, they could understand that they should carry out the Lord's instruction immediately. The other two deities are at Sri Khanda. There is also a deity of Balaram, Nityananda, who is about half the size of Mahaprabhu and who came later on. Thus, the deities here are known as Sri Sri Nitai Gauranga. There is a local anecdote concerning this deity of Balaram. He is said to have once been worshipped by Minaketana Ramadas, who used to carry this deity of Balaram with him wherever he went. Minaketana Ramadas's body was very strongly built, so he would carry Balaram upon a Singhasan mounted on his back. The Simhasan itself weighed perhaps 20 kilos. When he became somewhat advanced in years, that means when he became kind of old, and it was difficult to carry the Simhasan, he entrusted the worship of his Balaram to the Pujari of Lord Gauranga here. There is another story that claims that as Minaketan was a non-Bengali, his native tongue was a non-Bengali dialect in his language. The word for hair was Awa. Thus, the name of the place where Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas became Katwa, literally meaning cutting hair, or the place where Prabhu's head was shorn off its beautiful locks. The previous name of this place was Kantakanagar, supposedly given by Sachimata. Kantaka means thorn. The disciple of Das Gadadhar was Yadunandan Chakravarti. The present sevakas of this temple are his descendants. This is a very nice temple where many of the local people attend the Aarti ceremonies and classes on the devotional scriptures. There is a railway station at Katwa. From there, one should go by rickshaw to Gauranga Bari, I think. I'm not able to see that word. And then last is Srinivasacharya's disappearance. Disappearance. All three are disappearance days. So yesterday's was Gopastami. On Gopastami day is the disappearance of Dhananjaya Pandit, Gadadhar Das, and Srinivasacharya. About Srinivasacharya, Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj, the son of Khandavasi, Chiranjiva, and Sunanda, so Ramchandra Kaviraj, was a disciple of Srinivasacharya and the most intimate friend of Narottam Das Thakur, who prayed several times for his association. His youngest brother was Govinda Kaviraj. Srila Jiva Goswami very much appreciated Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj's great devotion to Lord Krishna and therefore gave him the title Kaviraj. Sri Ramachandra Kaviraj, who was perpetually disinterested in family life, greatly assisted in the preaching work of Srinivas Acharya and Narottam Das Thakur. He resided at first in Sri Khanda, but later in the village of Kumaranagar on the bank of the Ganges. Govinda Kaviraj was the brother of Ramachandra Kaviraj and youngest son of Chiranjeeva of Srikhanda. Although at first a Shakta or worshipper of goddess Durga, he was later initiated by Srinivas Acharya Prabhu. So he is the brother, and the brother initiated him. Govinda Kaviraj also resided first in Srikhanda and then in Kumarnagar. But later he moved to the village known as Telia Budhari on the southern bank of the river Padma. Since Govinda Kaviraj, the author of the two books Sangeeta Madhava and Geetamrita, was a great Vaishnava Kavi or poet, Srila Jiva Goswami gave him the title Kaviraj. He is described in the Bhakti Ratnakar 9th wave. So this is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 11, 51, text 51 purport. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj took pleasure in writing the infrequent passages which glorified Gopal Bhatta, and he never told Sri Bhatta how he had written them. Okay, so we are supposed to read about Srinivas Acharya. Let me see. Okay. Okay, he's just giving an introduction. I cannot write extensively about the depth of knowledge of Sri Gopal Bhatta during his life in Vrindavan for fear the book will become too large. Sri Bhatta, means Gopal Bhatta, had given many comments on the book Krishna Karnamrita, which gave much pleasure to all the Vaishnavas. Sri Gopal Bhatta, a remarkable person in the path of pure devotion, had performed many supernatural activities. At a much later time, Srinivas met whom Gopal Bhatta, and got his desires fulfilled. On the order of Prabhu, Srinivas took his initiation from Gopal Bhatta. Prabhu means Mahaprabhu. Srinivas took his initiation from Gopal Bhatta and later propagated the Goswami scriptures in Gauda. Prabhu empowered Sri Rupa and others to write and compile scriptures on Vaishnava religion. For the propagation of those scriptures, he empowered Srinivas. So, books were written by the 6 Goswamis, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and others. And Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Shyamanand Pandit, the next generation, they were empowered to distribute those books all over India. Acharya means Srinivas Acharya, and Sri Thakur Mahashay means Narottam Das Thakur say, when shall I be able to find Sri Chaitanya Dev, the ocean of kindness, within the range of my vision? His aim was to create many Vaishnava scriptures through the intellect of Sri Rup and others, to later disseminate those scriptures to the people of the world through the efforts of Srinivas. So all these are statements from Bhakti Ratnakar. Srinivas Acharya was a great scholar who benedicted the world by distributing those valuable Vaishnava books. The favor of Lokanath to Narottam. At that time, Narottam arrived in Vrindavan and immediately engaged himself in the continuous service of Sri Lokanath. So Lokanath Goswami's disciple is Narottam Das Thakur. Lokanath was satisfied with Narottam's attitude and gave him Diksha Mantra. Sri Gopal Bhatta and the other Vaishnavas accepted Narottam as an intimate friend. So you understand the connection, right? Gopal Bhatta Goswami's disciple is Srinivas Acharya. Lokanath Goswami's disciple is Narottam Das Thakur. And yeah, we didn't read about Shyamananda Pandit yet. Srinivas Acharya met Narottam, so they were intimate friends. Srinivas Acharya and Narottam Das Thakur were intimate friends, along with Shyamananda Pandit, all three. Srinivas Acharya met Narottam in Vrindavan, and gradually a dynamic new circle of Vaishnavas was established there. Srinivas also met Shyamananda in Vrindavan, the embodiment of Lord Chaitanya's love. It was the middle of the 16th century, their time. Aspiring for perfection in spiritual life, young Srinivas had tried to meet Lord Chaitanya and his disciple Gadadhar, but Srinivas came too late. They passed away before he could become their student. So first he was trying to go and meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and by the time he reached, he found out Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had left had ended his earthly pastimes. So then he was suggested to go and meet Gadadhar Pandit, who was still there in Jagannath Puri in Tota Gopinath temple. So then he went there and Gadadhar and study Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit. When he went to Tota Gopinath temple, he met Gadadhar Pandit, who was very old by then. He became rapidly old because of separation from Mahaprabhu. After the disappearance of Mahaprabhu, he just became very, very old all of a sudden, and his hands were trembling. So he would read, remember, he would read Srimad Bhagavatam every day, recite Srimad Bhagavatam to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every afternoon. Mahaprabhu would go. So after the so he had this one copy, handwritten copy of Srimad Bhagavatam, but because of separation from Mahaprabhu, he's crying and crying. All the ink got, spread, right? So it was not legible anymore. So when Srinivas Acharya came to Gadadhar Pandit to study under him, he said, I cannot see anything, you won't be able to study. Go get another copy of Srimad Bhagavatam, handwritten copy, get it handwritten and come. So he went, and by the time he came, Gadadhar Pandit had also left. That's the point. So, aspiring for perfection in spiritual life, young Srinivas had tried to meet Lord Chaitanya and his disciple Gadadhar, but Srinivas came too late. They passed away before he could become their student. And so too did the great Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Yeah, so when Gadadhar Pandit disappeared, then he was instructed, go to Vrindavan, Rup Sanatan Goswamis are there, you can get trained by them. So when he went there, by the time he went there, Rup Sanatan Goswamis had given up their life in separation from Mahaprabhu. It's like a tragic story, one after another. So, too did the great Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. But as Srinivas journeyed to the holy town Vrindavan, Rupa and Sanatan appeared to him in a dream. Go on to Vrindavan, they told him, and learn from the great Goswamis, Jiva and Gopal Bhatta. Srinivas Acharya is one of the most important personalities in the religious history of Bengal, perhaps the most important Vaishnav teacher in the generation immediately following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is chiefly remembered as the illustrious disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Jiva Goswami. His achievements include delivering the writings of the Goswamis from Vrindavan to Bengal, converting King Birhambir to Vaishnavism, and originating the Manohar Shoy style of Kirtan. At Kheturi, Bengal, he co-organized the first Gaura Purnima festival celebrating the anniversary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance in this world, which Narottam, Shyamananda and thousands of other Vaishnavas attended. Srinivas Acharya's parents, the Brahmana Gangadhar Bhattacharya and his wife Lakshmi Priya, lived in the small village of Chakhandi on the bank of the Ganges in the Barddhaman district of Bengal. They longed to raise a child who would be a great devotee, but until the birth of Srinivas, they were childless for many years. Gadadhar was himself a great devotee of the golden avatar, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the incarnation of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, predicted in the scriptures. Okay, but Srinivas Acharya's father is Gangadhar Bhattacharya, right? Gangadhar, so it's not Gadadhar, sorry, Gangadhar. So the father of Srinivas Acharya was himself a great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya had appeared in Navadvip and was currently in the world. So when Srinivas Acharya appeared, Mahaprabhu was still performing his Atli Leela. Gangadhar spent much of his time hearing and retelling the stories of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes with the Lord's intimate associates. He wanted to see Lord Chaitanya, but social and familial obligations kept him at home. So he resolved to meditate on the Lord in separation. In 1510, however, he could not tolerate the separation any longer. He set out for Navadvip to see the Lord of his life. After only 7 miles, as far as the village of Katwa, he learned that Nimai of Nadia, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was in that very village taking sannyas, the renounced order of life. What? Cried Gangadhar. Why must my Lord take the renounced order? This austerity is reserved for human beings like me, so we can overcome our attachments to this world. Certainly there is no need for Sri Nimai, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to live the harsh life of an ascetic. But Gangadhar's reservations were mixed with excitement. He would soon see his Lord face to face, but he would be seeing him as a sannyasi. When he approached the sacrificial area where Sri Nimai was taking sannyas, he saw the Lord's intimate associates Nityananda Prabhu, Chandrasekhar Acharya, Mukunda Datta, and many others. He saw Madhushila, the barber, preparing to cut Nimai's beautiful locks of raven black hair. No, the onlookers were saying, please stop. They, like Gangadhar, could not conceive of the Lord in the renounced order of life. Even Madhu, who had the good fortune to touch the Lord's head, could cut his hair out of duty only, weeping profusely. Madhu and the others knew that the Lord had decided to set an example for the entire religious world and stress the importance of renunciation. There was nothing they could do. So that's how Gangadhar, the father of Srinivas Acharya, actually saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, Chaitanya Das. Keshav Bharati, the sannyas guru, gave Nimai his new sannyas name, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. The crowd was in shock. Beautiful Nimai is really taking sannyas? They couldn't believe their eyes, from which tears were flowing incessantly. But the deed was done. Madhu fainted. It was as if he had been controlled by the Lord's own hand to fulfill the Lord's own desire. Chaitanya, Chaitanya, said Gangadhar Bhattacharya to himself. Chaitanya, 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 he repeated again and again. His eyes pleaded with everyone there. He wanted to understand what had just happened, but all he could do was mutter in a stupor of mixed emotions. Gangadhar found himself calling the Lord's names aloud with uncontrollable enthusiasm. Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He returned to Chakhandi, half mad with ecstasy, unable to stop repeating the Lord's names. He told his wife what had happened, and she too was overcome with ecstasy. As the days passed, their ecstasy increased, and the whole town of Chakhandi marveled at Gangadhar's transformation. Seeing Gangadhar's absorption in Sri Chaitanya's name, his wife and the other villagers began calling him Chaitanya Das. Gangadhar became Chaitanya Das. Journey to Puri. Chaitanya Das and his wife went to Jagannath Puri, where Lord Chaitanya had gone after accepting the renounced order. When the couple arrived, they went to Sri Chaitanya and surrendered at his feet. Lord Jagannath is very happy that you have come here, the Lord said. Go to the temple and see his deity form. The lotus-eyed Lord is extremely merciful, so please go see him. Govinda, Lord Chaitanya's personal servant, accompanied Chaitanya Das and his wife to the temple, where they offered many prayers at the feet of Lord Jagannath. Weeping tears of divine love, the happy Brahmana couple were soon escorted to the luxurious accommodations Lord Chaitanya had arranged for them. They spent several happy days with Sri Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. One day Lord Chaitanya told his servant of his plans for the couple. Govinda, the Lord said, although Chaitanya Das and his wife have not mentioned it to me, I know they would like to have a child. They said so in front of Lord Jagannath, who is non-different from me. They have prayed sincerely, and I know their hearts. Their desired offspring will soon appear. His name will be Srinivas, and he will be a greatly beautiful child. Through Rup and Sanatan, I will manifest the Bhakti Shastras, and through Srinivas, I will distribute them. Chaitanya Das and his wife should quickly return to Chakhandi. The appearance of Srinivas. In Chakhandi, the couple had a beautiful baby boy whom they named Srinivas. He was born in the second or third decade of the 16th century on the auspicious full moon day of the month of Vaishak. That was appearance day. Yesterday was disappearance. On the full moon day of Vaishak. Lakshmi Priya's father, Balaram Vipra, a learned astrologer, told the happy couple that their son was a Mahapurusha, a divinely empowered soul. The boy had a broad chest and a long, elegant nose, and his beautiful eyes extended like lotus petals. Like Lord Chaitanya, he had a bodily luster resembling molten gold and arms that extend down to his knees. According to custom, Chaitanya Das and Lakshmi Priya gave charity to the Brahmanas, and the Brahmanas blessed the child. Srinivasa's youth. Lakshmi Priya would constantly sing the glories of Lord Chaitanya into the child's ears. So this is the advantage. Of course, this is right Karana Purusha, Mahaprabhu himself predicted, but still, right from the beginning, children should be told about the glories of the Supreme Lord. So Lakshmi Priya would constantly sing the glories of Lord Chaitanya into the child's ears, and the melodious sounds made him joyful. As Srinivas grew, he learned to chant the names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna. Soon, this small crescent moon, known as Srinivas, grew full and was known as the brightest and most beautiful boy in Chakhandi. He studied under the famed Dhananjay Vidyavachaspati, who taught him all branches of Vedic learning, including religion, logic, poetry, political science, grammar, and Ayurveda. According to the Prema Vilas, Dhananjay Vidyavachaspati said that he had nothing to teach Srinivas. The Prema Vilas also relates that the goddess of education appeared to Srinivas in a dream and told him she would make him proficient in all areas of learning, especially the scriptures. Still, Srinivas became known as Dhananjay Vidyavachaspati's prize pupil, and as such, he was the pride of Chakhandi. He was loved by all the townspeople who saw him as a precious gem. Narahari Sarkar Thakur. So Srinivas's interactions, right, association with Narahari Sarkar Thakur. Because of Srinivas's popularity, he met Narahari Sarkar, an intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya from nearby Sri Khanda. So Narahari Sarkar is from Sri Khanda, which was nearby to Chakhandi. Narahari Sarkar's intense devotion had pleased Lord Chaitanya, and Narahari had the distinction of being allowed to sing the Lord's glories in the Lord's presence, although the Lord, out of humility, would not let anyone else do so. This distinction impressed young Srinivas, and he accepted Sri Narahari as his first instructing guru. After meeting Narahari Sarkar, Srinivas began to show signs of ecstasy. Narahari told Srinivas to go to Puri to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While Srinivas was considering how to execute this instruction, his father passed away from this mortal world after 7 days of fever. It was a shock to the family, and Srinivas did all he could to console his mother. Meanwhile, the omniscient Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was preparing his associates for Srinivas's arrival. He had already written to Rupa, Sanatan, and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis, requesting them to teach Srinivas spiritual life. And he asked Gadadhar Pandit in Jagannath Puri to teach Srinivas the Srimad Bhagavatam. Narahari Sarkar advised Srinivas to see to his mother's care in Jajigram, where her father and brothers had moved from Chakhandi. Then Srinivas was to proceed to Puri to associate with Lord Chaitanya. Srinivas asked Narahari to initiate him into the chanting of Krishna's name, but Narahari told him that Lord Chaitanya wanted him to take initiation from Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Meeting with Gadadhar Pandit, still a boy, Srinivas set out. Meeting with Gadadhar Pandit is the heading, so how he met Gadadhar Pandit. Still a boy, Srinivas set out with a companion for Puri. On the way, he learned that Sri Chaitanya had left this world. You can imagine what a thunderbolt that must have been, right? He learned that Lord Chaitanya left this world. Then Lord Chaitanya, along with Nityananda Prabhu, who had all passed away, appeared to Srinivas on the pretext of a dream and consoled him. The phrase Shopna Chale, on the pretext of a dream, Chale, appears frequently in Bengali literature of the period and is usually taken to mean in a spiritual vision. Still, Srinivas remained grief-stricken. He went to the Gopinath temple in Puri to take shelter of Gadadhar Pandit. The Pandit was overcome with separation from Lord Chaitanya, and tears always flowed from his eyes. Srinivas bowed at Sri Gadadhar's feet and introduced himself. Gadadhar Pandit became joyful. "I'm glad you have come and introduced yourself," he said. "Just before passing away, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told me to teach you the Bhagavatam. He knew you would arrive in Puri one day, and he asked me to explain Krishna Leela to you." Gadadhar Pandit's joy, he could now fulfill this order of the Lord, again turned to sadness. "I cannot teach you Bhagavatam at this time, O young Srinivas," he said, "for the manuscript in my possession has become illegible from the tears I have cried onto its pages." Srinivas touched the sacred book to his head and felt ecstasy arise within himself. Nonetheless, the problem of studying a book that had been rendered illegible remained. But Sri Gadadhar and Srinivas would not be swayed from their purpose. The will of Mahaprabhu could not be obstructed. Sri Gadadhar sent a message to Narahari Sarkar in Bengal, asked him to secure another manuscript of Srimad Bhagavatam. Narahari replied that another copy was available and that a messenger should be dispatched immediately. Gadadhar sent Srinivas himself and told him to hurry. The separation from Lord Chaitanya was intolerable, he said, and he didn't know how long he could stay in this world. Before leaving, Srinivas fulfilled a long cherished desire to see Lord Chaitanya's associates. He went to the home of Ramananda Rai, Shikhi Mahiti, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Bakreshwar Pandit, Paramananda Puri, Gopinath Acharya, and many others. He also went to see King Prataprudra. But according to the Bhakti Ratnakar, the king had gone away in solitude to lament the Lord's passing. Srinivas as Gaura Shakti. Srinivas reminded the great personalities in Puri of Lord Chaitanya. Seeing his intense and unprecedented love of Godhead, the devotees could understand that he was Gaura Shakti, the embodiment of the energy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. According to the Prema Vilas, Srinivas is an incarnation of Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy. The Lord's intimate associates could naturally perceive this and could understand that through Srinivas, the eternal message of Lord Chaitanya, the message of the Vedic literature, would be widely distributed. Lord Chaitanya had broken open the storehouse of nectarian love of God, and the Goswamis, by writing books, had taken that nectar and placed it in the tangible vessels, pots. Srinivas would see that these vessels were circulated among all sincere souls, those books. The intimate associates of the Lord gave Srinivas instructions and advice for carrying on the mission. When Srinivas arrived in Bengal and received the copy of the Bhagavatam from Narahari Sarkar Thakur, he learned that Gadadhar Pandit had passed away. So he didn't even have to go back to Puri. He just learned in Bengal. The news was a terrible blow, and Srinivas lamented. Then Gadadhar Pandit appeared to him on the pretext of a dream and encouraged him to go forward. Srinivas reflected on the inconceivable will of the Lord. Why had he taken away the person who was to teach him the Bhagavatam? Was there a new plan? Was someone else to teach him the sacred scriptures? Some say that Srinivas felt despondent at this time, but not much is known about the years that followed Sri Gadadhar's passing from this world. It is generally assumed that Srinivas spent this time at first in a heartbroken state and then in serious meditation. He probably continued his studies as he was still in his teens. He was a teenager at that time. When Sri Janava Devi, the wife of Nityananda Prabhu, went to Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami asked her to send Srinivas to Vrindavan as soon as possible. On her return to Bengal, she relayed the message to Narahari. Sri Chaitanya had told the Goswamis of Braja to train Srinivas, and Narahari advised him to hasten to Vrindavan so that the Lord's command should not be violated. The request heightened Srinivas's desire to study bhakti literature with Rupa and Sanatan. Had he gone to Vrindavan then, he would have met Rupa and Sanatan, but he decided to visit the homes of Lord Chaitanya's principal associates on the way, stopping at Navadvip to visit Sri Chaitanya's home. Association with the Navadvip devotees. This was the second time Srinivas delayed a journey. First, the journey to see Gadadhar Pandit, and now Rupa and Sanatan. Perhaps Srinivas's enthusiasm to associate with Lord Chaitanya's direct followers in Puri and Navadvip was so overwhelming that he was unable to heed the advice of his forebears. Forebearers, I think. I don't know. Forebears. Some say that all of this was the will of providence so that Srinivas would take initiation from Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Others say that Srinivas, by his example, was teaching the importance of pilgrimage and association with devotees. Srinivas was enthralled with the home of Sri Chaitanya in Navadvip, Mayapur, where he met Vishnupriya Devi, the Lord's revered widow, and her esteemed servants, Vamshivadan Thakur and Ishan Prabhu. They all blessed Srinivas, and he stayed with them for several days, hearing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. During those days, he watched Vishnupriya Devi perform severe austerities. For example, she would chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, over each grain of rice she was to eat. When she was finished with her daily chanting, she would eat only the grains she had set aside. So we have counter beads, right? After we chant, or we have a japamala, 108 times we chant, then we pull one counter bead. After each mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, she would pick one grain of rice and put it aside. Again, one more mantra and put another grain of rice. Like this, from early in the morning until evening, she would be chanting all day and putting one grain of rice aside. And in the evening, after she chanted, whatever grains were that she had chanted, whatever grains were collected, she would wash it, cook it, and eat it. That's all. That rice, nothing else. This was her austerity. And when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, she was very young. I think she was like 14 years old or something. And then she lived until she was 90, over 90. And all these years, this was her practice. She would just chant all day and she would just eat that rice on which, or the grains on which she chanted. So Srinivas Acharya saw this austerity of Vishnupriya Devi. Truly, Srinivas said, this is a wife who was worthy of Sri Chaitanya. Srinivas also met Damodar Pandit, Shuklambar, Murari Gupta and other early friends and intimates of Lord Chaitanya in Navadvip. From there, Srinivas went to nearby Shantipur, where he was warmly greeted by Sri Advaita's wife Sita Thakurani and her sons Achyuta and Gopal. Srinivas meets Janava Devi. Then Srinivas visited the house of Nityananda Prabhu in Khardaha, where Janava Devi, her son Veerbhadra, about whom I was supposed to read, I didn't read, maybe another day we will read about Veerbhadra. So Srinivas Acharya met Janava Devi, her son Veerbhadra, and others greeted Srinivas as if he were part of their own family. But Janava Devi encouraged him to start for Vrindavan without delay, because Rupa and Sanatan would soon rejoin the Lord in the spiritual world. On the way to Vrindavan, Srinivas stopped at the well-known Abhiram Thakur's house in Kanakul, Krishnanagar, to deliver a letter from Janava Devi. The Thakur greeted him with 3 loving lashes from an extraordinary whip. This is Abhiram Thakur, right? He had a whip called Jai Mangal. He would whip somebody, beat with that whip, and that person would get love of Godhead. So 3 times he whipped Srinivas Thakur with his whip. And this Abhiram Thakur is one of the 12 Gopals, intimate associate of Nityananda Prabhu. Yeah. So Abhiram Thakur gave 3 lashes with his whip to Srinivas Acharya. 3 loving lashes from an extraordinary whip, but this unusual greeting was a benediction. The whip, known as Jai Mangala, would bestow love of God on anyone it touched. Sri Abhiram and his wife Malini showed deep affection for Srinivas. Not only did they bless him with their famous whip, but they gave him valuable instructions and reiterated the importance of going to Vrindavan as soon as possible. While continuing his journey, Srinivas stopped in Katwa, where his father had seen Lord Chaitanya adopt the renounced order. Next, he passed through Agradweep, where the 3 famous Ghosh brothers, Vasudev, Govinda, and Madhava, had established their temple. And then he proceeded to Ekachakra, the birthplace of Nityananda Prabhu. Finally, Srinivas made one last stop in Jajigram to say farewell to his aging mother and to visit Narahari Sarkar, his beloved Guru. Remember, in those days, it was not like you go by train and then you come back and visit. They walked all the way to Vrindavan. So what were the chances that he would come back and when, right? And they were already getting old. So he went to say goodbye to his mother. And also to his first Shiksha Guru, Narahari Sarkar, his beloved Guru. Narahari was concerned about Srinivas's delay in going to Vrindavan and asked him to leave immediately. And so, without further delay, Srinivas set out for Vraja. By this time, he had achieved adulthood. So many years had passed. After he got the instruction that he should go to Vrindavan, stopping in all these places and spending time. He was a teenaged boy, and now he got adulthood. He was over 18 now. The journey to Vraja. Meanwhile, Sanatan Goswami had left this mortal world, and Rupa Goswami could not bear the separation. Sri Rupa felt that he too might not survive to instruct Srinivas, so he asked his distinguished disciple and nephew, Jiva Goswami, to care for Srinivas. Traveling in those days mostly by foot was difficult. Nonetheless, Srinivas was making determined progress. stopping briefly on the way in Benares to visit the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya, where Lord Chaitanya had lived for 2 months. Here Srinivas met an elderly disciple of Chandrasekhar who invited him for a meal and showed him the places associated with Sri Chaitanya. Next, Srinivas reached Prayag, known today as Allahabad, and spent the night there. 4 days before arriving in Vrindavan, he heard that Sanatan had passed away for 4 months earlier. 4 days before arriving in Vrindavan, he got news that Sanatan had passed away 4 months before. And when he reached Mathura, he learned that Rupa Goswami had passed away only 3 days earlier. Srinivas fell to the ground crying like a madman. He felt himself the most unfortunate person in the universe. He had failed to meet Lord Chaitanya and to study the Bhagavatam with Gadadhar Pandit. Now he had failed to meet Rupa and Sanatan. While Srinivas sat beneath a tree wishing for his own death, Rupa and Sanatan appeared to him on the pretext of a dream and told him he was the embodiment of Lord Chaitanya's love. They encouraged him to proceed to Vrindavan to take shelter of Gopal Bhatta Goswami and to study under Sri Jiva with all his life and soul. Jiva and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis. The words of Sri Sanatan and Rupa somewhat relieved Srinivas's heavy heart. He could travel again, and soon he felt the dust of Vrindavan beneath his feet. He approached Rupa Goswami's Govindadev temple, hoping to find more solace at Lord Govinda's lotus feet. As Srinivas sat before the deity, Jiva Goswami and his many followers entered the temple. Srinivas introduced himself, and Sri Jiva greeted him with warmth and loving hospitality. Srinivas spent the night in comfortable quarters at Sri Jiva's temple, Sri Sri Radha Damodar. The next day, Srinivas offered his homage at the tomb of Sri Rupa in the temple courtyard. Then Jiva introduced Srinivas to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who greeted him with kind words and expressed his disappointment that Srinivas had not arrived sooner, as Rupa and Sanatan had been anxious to meet him. Gopal Bhatta took Srinivas to his Radha Raman temple and asked the deity there to bless him. Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Jiva Goswami gradually introduced Srinivas to the inhabitants of Vraja. Narottam and Dukhi Krishnadas, Gopal Bhatta Goswami initiated Srinivas and taught him. Acha. So how the next is how Srinivas Thakur met Narottam and Dukhi Krishnadas. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami initiated Srinivas and taught him. And as Jiva Goswami was the preeminent Vaishnava philosopher of the period, Gopal Bhatta directed Srinivas to him, to Jiva Goswami, for higher instruction, all in accordance with the desires of Lord Chaitanya and Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis. The Prema Vilas states that Sri Jiva took care of Srinivas and gave him a thorough spiritual education. Another young scholar, the illustrious Narottam, had been studying under Jiva for 1 year. Narottam Das Thakur was already with Jiva Goswami by that time when Srinivas Acharya arrived, and he had been there for 1 year studying under Jiva Goswami. Had been initiated, when Srinivas arrived in Vrindavan. Narottam had been initiated by Loknath Goswami, who had sent him to Sri Jiva for additional spiritual instructions. Then young Dukhi Krishnadas came, sent by his Guru Hridaya Chaitanya. The 3 young devotees studied under Jiva Goswami with the utmost enthusiasm and became his best students. They were widely known as inseparable friends. Jiva Goswami ordered them to study the forests of Vrindavan with Raghava Pandit, who knew all the sacred groves and their significance. Eventually, Srinivas, Narottam, and Dukhi Krishnadas were given a special mission. They were to distribute the books of the Goswamis, the Bhakti Rasa scriptures in Bengal and other areas. Vaishnavism was widely embraced in Bengal, but literature explaining the Vaishnava philosophy was wanting. There was Vaishnavism, but no books. Books were wanting. Nityananda Prabhu's wife Janava Devi had visited Rupa and Sanatan in Vrindavan some years earlier and was well aware of the prolific spiritual literature the Vrindavan Goswamis were producing. So she contacted Jiva Goswami and suggested that the books be sent to Bengal. To comply, Sri Jiva summoned his 3 best men. The mission begins. In a large assembly of Vaishnavas, Sri Jiva called forth Narottam Das. From this day forward, you will be known as Narottam Thakur Mahashay. Then he called Srinivas. You will be known as Srinivas Acharya. And finally, Dukhi Krishnadas. Because you have brought so much pleasure, Ananda, to Radharani, Shyama, you will now be called Shyamananda. Then Sri Jiva told them of their mission in Bengal, Orissa, and other provinces of India. Srinivas, Narottam, and Shyamananda did not want to leave Vrindavan, but they understood the importance of their mission. They went to their initiating gurus, who gave their blessings, instilling in them the necessary enthusiasm for the task. Sri Jiva began the preparations for the long and arduous journey. Sri Jiva Goswami began the preparations for the long and arduous journey. These devotees were his best students, and he would spare no pains for their welfare. He had a rich merchant disciple from Mathura supply a large cart, 4 strong bullocks, and 10 armed guards. The manuscripts, original works by Rup Sanatan, Gopal Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva, and others, were placed in a large wooden chest, which was bolted and covered with a waxed cloth. Sri Jiva also secured, by the way, all these books were handwritten. They didn't have printing presses back then. And this was the only copy. It's not like they had one copy written and kept. This was the only copy that they had, all kept in a chest, nicely secured and put in the bullock carts and sent to Bengal to be distributed. And Rup Sanatan Goswamis had already disappeared, right? So their work is also being sent. So, yeah. The manuscripts, original works by Rup Sanatan, Gopal Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva, and others were placed in a large wooden chest, which was bolted and covered with a waxed cloth. Sri Jiva also secured a special passport from the king of Jaipur that his 3 students would need to show as they traveled to eastern India. Then Srinivas, Narottam, and Shyamananda left Vrindavan. The journey to Bengal. As they began traveling, Sri Jiva and several other devotees accompanied them, unable to bear being separated. As the caravan neared Agra, the well-wishers stayed behind. Yeah, so after some distance they stayed back. Up to Agra, they just kept following. Now the journey was underway. There could be no turning back. After many months, the party reached a small village named Gopalpur, just within the boundaries of the Malla kingdom of Vana Vishnupur in Bengal. When they retired that night, they felt confident that their mission was almost complete, right? They were in Bengal now. Vishnupur is in the district of Birbhum, bounded on the north by the Santhal Parganas and on the south by Midnapur. The king of Vishnupur, Birambir, was the leader of a strong group of bandits. He was the king, but actually he was the leader of dacoits. So Birambir was the leader of a strong group of bandits who were the terror of the adjoining countries. He had employed a large number of thugs and assassins who infested the highways and killed and robbed wayfarers, the travelers. The astrologers of the court were ever ready to submit to him confidential reports as to what fortunes the stars would grant him if he carried on robberies in particular localities. So he is a king, and he had his court consisting of astrologers who would tell him, what was a favorable time for him to go and rob, what the travelers were carrying, and he could actually attack them and loot them. Stealing the books. The king's dacoits had been following the cart from afar. The Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda's cart, they were following. Who? The king's dacoits. This cart was especially interesting because the king's astrologers had said that it held a great treasure. Exactly what treasure they didn't know, but the astrologers said that this box has great treasure. Although the dacoits had been following the cart for quite a distance, they thought it wise to wait until the cart reached their own kingdom. So they were following even before, but they waited until it came to their kingdom. The dacoits saw only 15 men escorting the cart, 10 armed soldiers, 2 cartmen, and 3 holy men. The band of dacoits, numbering over 200, inflamed one another's imaginations with the astrologer's words. So they were imagining what this cart could contain. This cart is filled with jewels more valuable than gold. They almost over, overtook the party in a village named Tamar. But circumstances did not permit it. They followed the party through the towns of Raghunathpur and Panchavati. Finally, in Gopalpur, the party spent the night near a beautiful lake. All 15 men slept soundly, tired from the journey. When they awakened, their worst nightmare had come to pass. The manuscripts had been stolen. They could not contain their tears. Srinivas, the leader of the party, advised Narottam and Shyamananda to proceed to Bengal and Orissa with the teachings of the 6 Goswamis. He would take it upon himself to retrieve the manuscripts. He wrote to Jiva Goswami and told him all that had happened. The king's regret. Meanwhile, as King Birambir was rummaging through treasures stolen from various travelers, his servants appeared with the court's most recent acquisition, Srinivasa's carefully wrapped chest of the most precious jewels in quotes. Birambir dropped everything else and feverishly unwrapped his latest prize. Having heard the prophecies, he could scarcely imagine what splendors awaited him. In one suspenseful moment, he removed the cloth covering the covering and opened the trunk to reveal manuscripts. Where was the priceless treasure? Lifting out the top manuscript in disbelief, the king saw the signature Sri Rupa Goswami written on a palm leaf. When he exclaimed further and began reading Sri Rupa's beautiful exposition of Vaishnava philosophy, he felt something change deep within. He reverentially returned the book to the trunk and retired for the evening, aware of the grave sin he had instigated. Srinivas appears in a dream. That night, the king had an unusual dream. He saw a beautiful and effulgent person whose body was filled with divine energy. Do not worry, the person said with a loving smile. Soon I will come to Vishnupur and we will meet. I will retrieve my manuscripts and you will be relieved of all sinful reactions. Your joy will be boundless. Know for certain that you are my eternal servant and I am your eternal well-wisher. The next morning, the king awoke and started his life anew, waiting for the day when the mysterious prediction of his dream would come to pass. Meanwhile, Srinivasacharya made his way to the outskirts of Vishnupur, where he met a Brahmana resident named Sri Krishna Vallabha. The two became friends, and Krishna Vallabha invited Srinivas to be a guest in his home. Gradually, Krishna Vallabha realized Srinivasa's exalted position and surrendered to him as a disciple. In due course, Krishna Vallabha mentioned that the king regularly convened a Bhagavatam study group for all who were interested. Srinivas was curious about the nature of the Bhagavatam presentation and asked Krishna Vallabha to take him to the next meeting, Bhagavatam recitation. When they arrived, Vyasacharya, the court Pandit, was reciting and commenting upon the Bhagavatam. Srinivas was unimpressed but said nothing. The next day, they found Vyasacharya pontificating in the same fashion. I don't know what it means, pontificating. After 2 weeks of the court Pandit, Srinivas could not contain himself, and after the meeting he spoke to Vyasacharya. You, sir, do not follow the text, said Srinivas, nor are your commentaries in line with Sridhar Swami or the other standard exponents of Bhagavad philosophy. Vyasacharya listened to Srinivas's comments but ignored his advice. The king, however, who was nearby, overheard what was said and found it interesting. The next day at the recital, Vyasacharya again attempted to elucidate the esoteric section of the Bhagavatam that delineates Sri Krishna's Rasa Leela. Okay, pontification means expressing one's opinions in a way considering annoyingly. One second. Considering annoyingly pompous and dogmatic. Okay, that is pontificating. Showing off, basically. You are, sir, okay, one second. The next day at the recital, Vyasacharya again attempted to elucidate the esoteric section of the Bhagavatam that delineates Sri Krishna's Rasalila. Respectful but firm, Srinivas interrupted with a question. Sir, how can you comment on such confidential subjects without referring to the statements of Sridhar Swami? You are obviously unfamiliar with his work. Vyasacharya became angry. He disliked being challenged in front of his sycophantic assembly, who were accustomed only to his peculiar rendition of Bhagavatam commentary. Before another word was said, however, the king began to defend Srinivasa's position. How is it that this Brahmana scholar finds fault with your explanations? Perhaps your interpretations are questionable. Who can interpret the text better than I? The arrogant Vyasacharya replied. This newcomer is an upstart, and he dares to question me in the presence of your majesty. Then he turned to Srinivas. If you are such an authority on the Bhagavatam, he said, why don't you come, sit here and explain these verses in a better way? Srinivas rose to the challenge. He sang the Bhagavatam verses beautifully and then commented upon them with great verve and authority. He drew upon existing Vaishnava explanations and yet offered his own unique presentation. No one had ever heard such a masterly enunciation of Bhagavad philosophy. The king encouraged him to go on, allowing him to speak for several hours. When he finished, the whole assembly applauded, ecstatic with Srinivas's contagious love for Krishna. Vyasacharya could not believe his ears. He was defeated, but he was happy. King Birambir was greatly moved. No one has ever come to this kingdom and shared so much love and scholarship in the way you have, he said to Srinivas. Please tell me your name and where you come from. My name is Srinivas and I am a native of this country, said Srinivas. I came here to see your magnificent court and to relish the Bhagavatam. The king then gave him the best accommodations in the palace and asked him to stay as long as he liked. The king surrenders. Later that evening, the king asked Srinivas to dine with him, but Srinivas said that he took only one humble meal per day and had already eaten. Nonetheless, Birambir encouraged him to have some fruit and he complied, not wanting to offend his distinguished host. As Srinivas ate his fruit, the king sat at his side like a humble servant. The king had never felt this way about anyone. Srinivas was that effulgent person he had seen in his dream, his guru, and he wanted to render some menial service. That night he heard Srinivas repeating the name of Krishna in his room. It seemed as if Srinivas did not sleep. Here is a genuine saint, thought the king. He is simply absorbed in the name of God. With this pleasant idea, the king fell asleep listening to Srinivas Acharya's blissful voice in the next room. The following day in the great assembly, Srinivas again spoke from the Bhagavatam. Once again, the eager, expectant audience relished every word Srinivas. Once again, the eager, expectant audience relished every word. Srinivas astonished all who listened. Chroniclers of the event have reported that even the stone walls of the hall seemed to melt with emotion. Srinivas spoke with erudition, sensitivity, and devotion, honoring his Vaishnava predecessors, and everyone present agreed that the wisdom of the orator far exceeded his years, his age. One by one, people came and bowed at Srinivas's feet, hoping to become his disciples. Later, the king submitted himself to Srinivas as a lowly beggar. You are the real king, he said, for you have love for Krishna. I am not even worthy to be in your presence. Srinivas, with all humility, merely shook his head. He was not able to accept his own exalted position. But the king persisted. Allow me to be your servant, please. How can I serve you? My entire kingdom is at your disposal. I came from the holy city of Vrindavan with a mission from Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Jiva Goswami. This is Srinivas Thakur replying. I was to bring their writings to Bengal, but unfortunately this treasure was robbed within your kingdom. If I cannot retrieve these books, I would prefer to lose my life. Can you help me get them back? The king burst into tears. A poor worm am I, he said, lost hopelessly in this land of birth and death. My own men pillaged for years and years under my order, and then they came upon your party. We were told you carried the greatest treasure in the universe, and we naturally pursued it. I cannot express my sorrow. Reflecting for a moment, the king said, but there is a positive side to all of this. Our meeting would not have otherwise occurred. I would commit these sins again and again for but a moment of your association. Srinivas laughed and reassured the king that sinful life was unnecessary for attaining his association. Right? It's not that only when you commit sin then you'll get the association of a sadhu. It's not required to be sinful to get the association of a sadhu. Srinivas then forgave the king for all his sins and asked him to sin no more. The books are safe. The king led Srinivas to the room where his treasures were kept, and Srinivas saw the trunk with the Goswami's literature. Srinivas felt ecstasy and took the garland of flowers from his own neck and placed it on King Birambir. Srinivas asked the king to bring him tulsi leaves, flower garlands, sandalwood paste, and other items to worship the sacred books. The king brought everything, and his own initiation ceremony followed. By reciting into the king's ears the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Srinivas initiated him. According to the Prema Vilas, Srinivas gave him the name Haricharan Das. Jiva Goswami later showed the king special mercy by writing a letter in which he renamed him Chaitanya Das. The king's wife, Queen Sulakshana, and their son Prince Dhari Hamvir also became Srinivas Acharya's surrendered servants. The queen's initiated name is unknown, but the boy was named Gopal Das. Krishna Vallabha and Vyasacharya also became dedicated disciples. Let me see. Looks like there's a lot more. Yeah, maybe another day we can read. It's already time, right? Yeah. So 1 second. Let me just see. How do I bookmark this from here? So I'm not. Okay. So that was about Srinivas Acharya. There's some more. How, after getting the books, then he will continue, and the Gaur Purnima festival that they held with Janava Mata, and how Mahaprabhu and all his associates who had disappeared, they all come. And then finally, and more, he gets married, and then, he initiates so many disciples, and finally his disappearance. All that is there. But we'll stop here today because I know you all have to go to schools and work. Thank you very much. So either we can continue on another day, but we didn't do Srimad Bhagavatam today. We will do tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.